all. This is Julie Bennett. I'm in the Water Standard Marketing Group, and I'd like to introduce Lisa Henthorne, Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of Water Standard and our produced water subsidiary, Monarch Separators. So Lisa, thanks for taking the time to sit with us today.
Thank you, Julie.
I'd like to jump right in and ask you to share your thoughts on some of the challenges operators are faced with when it comes to produced and flowback water.
Well, one of the most significant challenges they're faced with today is just the growing volumes of the water that's coming back to them. And associated, of course, with higher volumes is the cost component of that.
How do you see operators changing what they're doing to address these challenges?
Well, a number of things are occurring. They're really looking at what their alternatives are. They've been faced with primarily taking their flowback and produced water and disposing of it in saltwater disposal wells. There's a couple of things occurring. One is that the availability of saltwater disposal wells in some areas of the country are becoming more restricted. Some of that is a function of the seismic concerns that are going on, and there's also some environmental concerns that are arising in taking surface water that has been flowed back then from a well and disposing of it into a well and kind of lost from the water cycle. So you see the operators now looking at doing different things with this water. How can they recycle it and use it in subsequent frac operations? What is the cost associated with that? Of course, because at the end of the day, it always comes down to how much does it cost to do what we need to do, and what does that cost contribute then to the overall production cost of these wells. So recycle is one of the areas that there's a lot of interest in right now. Different companies have different specs for what the water needs to be treated to in order to recycle it. And then, the holy grail, so to speak, is really being able to treat this water to discharge it or to use it for other types of applications, be it agriculture or other purposes. And some operators are definitely moving in that direction. The specifications for that, of course, are much more stringent in terms of what quality the water has to be treated to, and there is a cost component to that. So a lot of this is really getting solutions in place for the operators that make sense for them from a cost component, and that can also ensure that that quality spec for discharge can be met 100% of the time.
So do you find that in different areas and different regions that are out there, the water specs are all different and regulations are different and requirements? I'm just curious about that.
So recycle, you can even be in the same basin and different operators will have different specs for their water, and that's really dictated by the formulation that they're using in their frac operations. So that water quality is dependent on that. So some operators will have very stringent specifications where they want very low TSS, very, very low iron levels, for instance. And of course, very, very low bacterial counts. They want 100% kill bacterial populations. And then you have some operators that are more lenient, particularly with the turbidity or the TSS levels and maybe some of the iron levels. So you see a range there that's pretty significant. But when it comes to a specification for discharging the water, that's dictated by the states and by EPA, and that can vary even as a function of what river it's going into and at what point in what river it's going to, because it's all a base load as a function of what other industrial users are discharging into that particular river. So yes, it does vary significantly, and of course that means that the costs vary as well.
Okay, so what is Water Standard and Monarch Separators doing to address these challenges and the changes that we're seeing in the industry to help our operators?
We're really trying to help operators move towards recycling and discharge if it's appropriate. And really the whole trick to that is getting the cost under control, being able to provide solutions that can work within the cost structure that they have to be able to make these solutions viable. So we've really been focusing on how can we provide low cost but very effective solutions that can be used for recycle and for discharge. And being able to discharge water for under $1 a barrel, for instance, is what we've prided ourselves in being able to do that, and that's kind of an all-in cost. So that's one of the big pushes we've had as a company, is being able to bring that solution to the oil and gas industry so that they can in fact look towards discharging more of their water into the rivers and streams.
Okay, well, thanks. I really do appreciate you taking a few minutes with us today, and we definitely appreciate the efforts that you're putting forth, and I'm sure the operators do as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Julie.